Sharon Hill, Miss Thang didn't know it all after all. Miss Thang didn't know it all after all. Sharon Hill. Girl, you can give a speech to anybody at any time without being afraid. You must be Miss Thang. That conversation was to me at IBM. And yes, I was known for giving the speech at the drop of a hat, for going to meetings and being able to pull in the whole audience. I rather like that moniker, Ms. Thang. As I thought about my life after IBM, thinking, what should I do? It occurred to me, maybe I should be a professional speaker. I wonder how I'd go about that. In September 2002, I was sent to a conference in Atlanta. They had a keynote speaker whose name was Marcia Steele. You see, Marcia was from Jamaica. Marcia was about this tall. Nonetheless, she was a powerhouse. And when Marcia spoke, the entire audience, including myself, were leaning forward to hear every word she had to say. And when she finished with her rousing applause, I thought to myself, oh, that's what I want to do. I know I want to be a professional speaker. Marcia was selling her books. I was the first one in line to buy her book. As she was signing the book for me, I said to her, Marcia, I want to do what you do. I want to be a professional speaker. How do I get started? Marcia looked up at me and asked, and what is your name, child? My name is Sharon Hill. Marcia said, for you, Sharon Hill, I'm going to write 6 things in the back of this book. 6 things to help you become a professional speaker. I was honored. Marcia wrote down, and when she finished and I grabbed the book, as I walked away, I looked at number 1 and it said, join Toastmasters? I pushed people back out of the way to tell her, excuse me, Marcia, but you wrote join Toastmasters. You see, they call me Miss Thang because I can speak to anybody at any time. Why would I need Toastmasters? Marcia sternly looked up at me and said in that strong Jamaican accent, Sharon Hill, join Toastmasters. She said it with so much conviction. I thought, yes, ma'am, join Toastmasters, join Toastmasters. About 3 months passed. We got to the point that I had decompressed after corporate America because I left IBM. And I remembered Marcia's words, Sharon, join Toastmasters. I went to the web, searched for a club near my house, and found one that met at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays. Being a morning person, I thought, this is perfect. I called the number, and a gentleman named Joe said, yes, please join us. We love to have visitors. So I confidently went to my first Toastmasters meeting as a guest. I enjoyed the structure of the club. I enjoyed the friendship of the club. They even asked me to do a table topic, which of course Miss Thang confidently went to the lectern and presented and won table topics. After all, I am Miss Thang. I was so impressed with Toastmasters, I decided I'm going to join. This is fun. And I gave my first speech my first week as a Toastmasters, my icebreaker. Now, it's time for the evaluation. And Miss Thang is thinking, what could they possibly say to help me improve that speech? After all, I'm Miss Thang. So as I sat waiting for my evaluation, a little crusty gentleman who'd been with Toastmasters forever named Mike came to the lectern. And of course he gave me the compliments as to what went well. Sharon, that speech was exceptional. Of course, I'm Miss Thang. And after he said what I did well, he started telling me how I could improve. Improve? 3 things he said, Sharon. First of all, your eye contact. You remind me of a California, a North Carolina lighthouse. Your eyes are going back and forth across your audience. I didn't know I did that. And then he said, you're pacing. He said, it's good you didn't stand in one place terrified, but Sharon, you were walking back and forth with no direction, with no purpose. I suggest when you give a speech, you confidently stride to the front of your audience, make your opening, and then walk to one side of the stage with your next paragraph, making eye contact. Finish that sentence or paragraph, confidently walk back to the center, make your next point, and continue doing so through your entire speech until you end back in the middle where you began. I didn't know I did that. That's great advice. Finally, he said, did you know that when you talk, Sharon, you lean into your audience? Stand up straight. People don't want you leaning into them. It intimidates them. Stand up straight. Make your eye contact. When Mike finished his evaluation, Miss Thang had to think about these things. After all, Miss Thang didn't know all these things at all. But instead of being angry, instead of being huffy, I thought, this is fantastic. Marcia was right. If I'm to be a professional speaker, I've got to learn what I'm doing wrong so that I can improve. Well, that same year, I went on to win the state of North Carolina's International Speech Contest because my club continued polishing the speech, giving me strong evaluations until I was so confident I was able to win the state of North Carolina. The same year I joined Toastmasters. But it didn't end there. In addition to giving all my speeches, I also started up the leadership track of Toastmasters over the years. And even though I've been a manager at IBM forever, now I was taking on a new leadership role, learning how to be a leader within a club, learning how to be a leader within an area, a division, on up to the district, all because of Toastmasters. So guess what? As it turns out, thanks to Marcia Steele, Sharon Hill learned Ms. Thang did not know it all after all. Madam Toastmaster.